Hey, it's John from Tinderbox Arts. So today I need to replace the alternator belt on my BMW R1200RT. It's a 2012 model, but I think a lot of the RTs are pretty much similar to this. So the alternator belt is located under a cover under here, just behind the front wheel. And I have a feeling, I'm stubborn enough to try it, but I have a feeling that my crash bars will be in the way. They go across the middle here. So there's a bunch of screws to undo, and then I think to get the cover away from the bike, I think the crash bars may be in the way. But you know what? I'm going to try it without it. If it turns out I have to take them off, I have to take them off. All right, this is the belt that I got. Now, I did purchase this from BMW, but it's not a BMW part. It's a ContiTech part. So I'm hoping this is the right one. There potentially is another one for my ear, but I think this is it. So once we take the old one off, we'll know. All right, if I get in here close, I'll show you a couple things. So here's the front tire, the back of the front tire. And right here, I'm going to be in my light, aren't I? Right here is the cover, right? It kind of looks like it's connected to this before you put some light down here, but it's really not. It's just this part right here. So there's some torque screws there, and up top too. My crash bar that's in the way is right here. So we'll see if I can slide it out or not. It'd be nice if I don't have to deal with that, but we'll see. Well, what do you know? I managed to get it out. It's a little tricky, but it did slip out, and hopefully I'll get it back in. So here's what the cover looks like. You got 1, 2, 3 bolts on the bottom, and on the top, they're actually just sheet metal screws like that, okay? So there's 2 of those, one here and one here. If you want to see the other side of it, nothing much to it. It's just a hunk of plastic, okay? And I did find, I have a Torx extension, but if you don't have this, you can just use an extension on your socket and a shorter Torx, but that is helpful to get the top 2 bolts out. All right, let me get you familiar with the problem here. So I'll pull back a little bit so you can see. Here's the exhaust. I put a rag over it so I wouldn't scratch it. Here's the bottom of the cover. If I just go up here, there's a pulley here and there's a pulley on top, and that's where the belt wraps around. But BMW, in all its infinite wisdom, did not make it adjustable. So to get this belt off, basically you have to stretch it off and stretch the new one on. Now, of course, they make a special tool for this, which I'm not going to buy. Other people have had success by taking a recycled plastic laundry container or something like that, or a Coke bottle or something like that, and cutting a piece so that when you jam it in between the belt and the pulley, it acts as something slippery and you can just kind of pull the belt off. And I think that's probably what I'm going to try first. Now, as you might imagine, one problem is you need to turn the engine over in order to get this belt to come off. Now, again, I have my crash bar in the way. If I didn't have the crash bar in the way, I could use a socket, and that would be preferable. And there's plenty of room, actually, to get a socket in there, except for the fact that I got the crash bar in the way. So, against my better judgment, I'm going to use, I have to use, an adjustable wrench, crescent wrench. I hate it, but, you know, it is what it is. I don't have a metric wrench that gets in there that's the right size, and this is just all I got. But you can turn the engine over fairly easily, even though the spark plugs are still in it and you're building compression in the engine. It's not really that bad. So with this crescent wrench, it's not that bad. However, you know, on the compression stroke, it's going to be harder to turn around than on the exhaust stroke. So, all right, I found an old antifreeze tub. I cut the bottom out, which is this, and then I just cut a piece of that bottom, which left me with an L-shaped plastic. So I'm going to slip that behind the belt as I turn it, and I like the idea of having the L shape so that I can kind of pull the belt towards me or push it away from me, depending on if I'm taking off or putting on. So we'll give this a try. I have no idea if it's going to work, but I'll do my best to film this, but it's going to be tricky to get in the camera in there. All right, I got a longer piece here. I'm not even going to take the other one out. I'll just add this one to this. See if this works. I don't know. Quite an operation here. All because I'm too cheap to buy a special tool. It is an expensive tool, I think. All right. Let's see what I can get in here. Now that other piece of plastic's in the way. I'm going to end up buggering up. Okay, it's working. We get this plastic oriented the right way. All right, now I'm on the exhaust stroke, so it's easier to pull. It's really not that hard to pull. All right, now I'm getting on a compression stroke. I'm really close, actually. There it comes. I just caught the edge of it, of the belt. I got to be careful not to get the pulley. Boom. All right, well, that's off. Now getting this other one on should be interesting. Now let's take a look at this. It's actually not terrible shape. It's a 6-year-old belt, so I do, yeah, well, you know what? I do see some, yeah, there's some, I can see some cracks if I bend it enough. So it is time for a new belt. Okay, now getting this new one on, before I even do that, I'm going to reach my hand up in here and feel the pulley for the alternator itself. I want to feel it to be nice and smooth. No rocking motion back and forth. It's nice. It feels good. All right, and everything looks clean as far as the pulleys themselves. So I'm going to slip this thing up here. Now, the new belt is even shorter than the old one because it's not stretched out yet. However, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be it's going to be interesting. All right, let me try one more time here. I know I'm blocking the camera. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord. All right, well, it's going to be some fussing here. I can see that. Possibly some cursing. All right, I turned the camera off while I was fussing for 10 minutes, and then I just had an idea. Because I kept thinking, I wish I had somebody else here to help me because they could turn the back wheel if I put it in gear. Well, guess what? If this works, I'm going to be my own hero. The way I'm sitting here, my head is by the front wheel and my feet are by the rear wheel. So I just put it in gear, and I think if I can brace myself somehow, I can turn the wheel with my boot. Oh, God. Let's see. Oh, shit. Almost. Damn it. I need one more hand. All right, it's got to be probably 30 minutes of fussing around, all told. So I finally got it. I didn't do anything different. I just eventually found, got a piece of plastic in there at just the right angle. And I did end up using my feet to turn the wheel. And at the very end, I had it caught almost here, and then I used the wrench to get it the last inch, and it finally made it. So I think what I learned is you should wait until you have a helper to do this if you have the chance, because if a helper could turn the rear wheel, it actually wouldn't be that hard because you'd have two hands, one to hold the plastic, one to hold the belt, and it would actually go on pretty easily. And if you had a socket that could fit and you didn't have this crash bar in the way, it would also be pretty easy. So all in all, it's not that tough. It's just that because of the crash bar and because I didn't have a helper, I didn't have too many options, so I just kept fussing until I finally got it. So it's on there. So now, actually, I can spin it with my foot still. The trouble is you got to hold the bike with one hand when you spin it with your foot. So now I'll just clean everything up, put that cover back on, and that's really it.